Step right up, take a look, see what we got. We got the jerky, we got the flavor.
On today's show, we're going to the fair. The Minnesota State Fair, the great get-together, starting with a tour of the North Woods. Always lots going on there. Raven Fetches and the Lumberjacks put on quite a show. And you'll get an inside look at this year's Minnesota-bound cabin.
So we're just going to sprinkle that right over the top.
And we'll find out what's cooking for the Minnesota State Fair as Lisa Erickson has a Minnesota State Fair treat you won't want to miss.
That's the silver. Now I'm looking for the gold.
And later, time to look back at what creates the great Minnesota get-together. Would you believe making art out of trash? Those stories and more, next.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's Select GMC dealers.
Hi everybody, Raven and I welcome you to the show, and as you can see, we are not at our usual location. We're at the great get-together, the Minnesota State Fair, and also joining me, our whole crew. Another star of the show, Laura Schara, and another star of the show, Bill Shirk. So they're going to get together and bring you a great program. In fact, we're going to start off with a tour of the North Woods. That's what we are at. We are at the North Woods. That's where they have the Lumberjacks showing some other things. Our man about the woods, Bill Shirk, is going to give us a tour of the North Woods. So, Billy boy, you better head out and see what you can do, okay? See what you can find. And later, Laura will give us a tour of our beautiful log cabin here and see what's inside. Kind of neat things, Raven bandanas, calendars, you name it. Laura? You better go check that out, huh? Anyway, we're glad you joined us. The fair is such a grand tradition in Minnesota, and even though it's a lot of folks and traffic, etc., it's still a great event to go to. And so I think Bill's had enough time to check out the North Woods. Let's see what he's found.
Hot dog.
There you are.
It's fair time. The crowds come for the food, fun, and of course, the fair's great North Woods.
Step right up, take a look, see what we got. We got the jerky, we got the flavor. We got a new one this year, the honey ham. Alrighty, thank you and enjoy.
Up in the North Woods, everything outdoors.
Okay, so it's not a visit to the fair unless you stop to see Giggles Campfire Grill. The big deal is every year Giggles has some new cool outdoor food. Giggles!
Hey, Bill, how's it going? Good to see you.
What's new this year?
You know, not much. We're kind of known for coming up with a new food item every year, but geez, this year I was struggling. I really couldn't come up with one. So, but we do have a couple interesting things that I could show you, around our cabin. Well, Bill, as you see, we didn't really come up with a new food item this year, but we did build a 2,400 square foot log cabin pavilion, which we're pretty proud of. We have ceiling fans, seating for 350 people. We have a fireplace that actually works. It's a gas fireplace. Not only did we not come up with a new food, but we came up with 24 new beer items, 24 craft beer items.
I'm gonna be here
And
a
these
while.
guys are setting up for right now.
Unbelievable structure. It might just look like a pavilion to you, but the history behind this thing is pretty amazing. These are all giant spruce logs that were cut out in northwest Montana. An Amish company out there called Meadowlark built this thing out there, took it apart, put it on trucks, brought it to Minnesota, and this is what you get in a day and a half of labor here. This will be an icon at the Minnesota State Fair. Way to go, Giggles. Don't forget, he's got great food too. Giggles Campfire Grill. Things like the foot-long walleye sandwich, smoked salmon wrap, salad on a stick. They've even got Ron Schara's Wilderness Walleye Cakes. I kind of wonder when they're going to come up with Bill's Bluegills. Just saying, Giggles.
Hey, there we go.
In the North Woods, Ron and Raven play a big role too. Fans, fill the stands to see the star of the show.
She is the follow-up to her mother was Raven II, obviously. All three of them have been in this chair. All three ravens have been here at the State Fair.
Out here, there's all kinds of stuff to see. Wouldn't this make the perfect Man About the Woods truck, the Radco truck here with a bike, all the racks and a boat right on the top? Kind of like it. It's funny, but every year I end up at the DNR fish pond. It's not like this is my first time. I've probably been here 30 times, and the 31st time is just as much fun as the first. They have folks from the DNR who explain to you all the different fish, where they came from, how they caught them. People love looking at big fish. You know, maybe the biggest change down here at the DNR site this year are the new indoor fish tanks. Remember the old scaly ones that were around for decades? Finally, they got some new tanks this year. There are 5. They kind of lowered them actually, so the kids can now see. And remember, the old ones were way up here. And what's cool about the new tanks is they now represent the habitat for the fish. So the St. Croix River tank, that's got all the fish that you'll find in the rivers. Really cool, and of course, it's a big attraction here at the fair.
So are the creepy crawlies. Yuck.
You know, another of my favorites at the fair is the garbage sculpture. There's a new one every year. This year, Andrew Vomhoff built this thing. It's called Homegrown. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to guess. But really, the sculpture pays homage to all the cleanups on the Mississippi River. And the cleanups are a number game. Think about it. 96,000 people have volunteered their time to go down to the river and clean up garbage. There have been over 3,000 cleanups, and they've pulled more than 6.2 million pounds of junk out of our Mississippi River. Sad when you think about it, but really profound that people will take time to help clean up our river.
So that's the North Woods. If you're not here, you're missing out. Get to the fair. Who knows? You might even see Raven.
There we go. Hey, thanks, Bill. The North Woods is a fun place, so come up and see us. Coming up, Laura Schara will give us a tour of our Minnesota-bound cabin. Right now, though, I need a pronto pup.
That is a camera. That is.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers. Connecticut. And by Rapala.
The GMC Terrain. Color touch sound system. Bluetooth connectivity.
Call Jen.
This is smart. OnStar app ready. The 2013 GMC Terrain. Over 100 standard features that make you more capable. That's professional grade. Lease this 2013 Terrain with an EPA estimated 32 highway NPG for around $199 per month.
Hey, welcome back. As you can see, we're at the great get-together, the Minnesota State Fair, up here at the North Woods at our Minnesota-bound log cabin. By the way, the Minnesota-bound stage has a show every day at 10 and at 3, so come up and see us. Up next, daughter Laura Schara is going to give us a tour of our Minnesota-bound cabin. Hey, Laura, what'd you find in the cabin?
Dad, there are all sorts of goodies here in the Minnesota-bound log cabin, and you may think I've gone fishing with this, but actually, this is a fire fishing pole. What you do is add a little hot dog, a couple marshmallows, and give it to your kids to have them go fishing for food over the campfire. How fun is that? And speaking of cooking, one of my personal favorite spices when I'm cooking wild game, these are by Golden Fig, right in St. Paul, Minnesota. She batches these spices weekly, locally, and they truly are fresh. They make a difference, and one of my favorites is the smoked sea salt. You try this on some pheasant, you'll never forget it. Of course, I can't forget about your calendar. This is Ron Schara's Minnesota Outdoor Calendar, and this is a great stocking stuffer, gift giver, because it has all the information you need about migrations of birds, season starts, when you need your hunting and fishing license, all sorts of information. Plus, of course, you get all that great outdoor art. One of our favorite Minnesota pastimes is bird watching, and it's especially important to feed the birds during the winter. And this is a really unique item. This is a peanut butter bird feeder. So all you have to do is stick a little peanut butter in these holes and you'll have chickadees coming to say hello to your window all winter long. And of course, we can't forget about the Minnesota Bound t-shirts. We have them in 3 different colors, and I have to tell you, I have every color. Now this little item is called ticker tape, and no, you're not going to see this in a parade because you want to wear this around your wrist or around your belt out in the woods to collect ticks. If you see a tick crawling on your body or actually in the grass, all you have to do is pick it up, wrap it in the tape, bend it over, make sure you throw it in the trash and not back out in the woods, and this is a way to have a little competition with your friends to see who can collect the most ticks on your next camping trip. Also over here is one of my personal favorites. It's Ron Scherer's Minnesota Fishing Guide. And if you want tips and tricks on how to catch more fish here in Minnesota, there's all sorts of information here. And I've had the blessing of going out with my dad many a time, so I know there's a lot of good information in here because we catch a lot of fish. And this is one of the most popular spots. It's Raven's Doggy Corner. And here we have the plush Raven puppies. Everybody says they want to take Raven home. Well, here at the State Fair, you can do that with one of these mini Raven dolls. And Raven this year has gotten a wardrobe makeover. She is selling her signature bandanas, but this year it has a name on it. How cute are those? And of course, you can't have all the treats here at the State Fair without bringing a treat home for your pet, right? Well, these are natural shed antlers, and this one happens to be an elk shed antler, and 100% natural and organic. Dogs love them, and they last a lifetime. So that wraps up the tour of the Minnesota Bound Log Cabin here at the State Fair. We have calendars, we have bird feeders, we have fire fishing poles, but I have to show you one last thing, which is my personal favorite. This is called the Loon Tune, and if your family has a cabin or some place where you can attract a few loons, I would suggest getting one of these and see how many loonies you can get around your dock.
Hey, thanks, Laura. Looks like our Minnesota Bound cabin is full of goodies, and we'll be back right after this, but I think I need another Pronto Pup.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Yard, premier manufacturers of maintenance-free outdoor patio furniture and accessories from recycled plastic.
By the Yard maintenance-free furniture. Comfort, elegance, and recycling combined. Call today for your free catalog or go online to bytheyard.net.
Welcome back. As you can see, we are at the Minnesota State Fair. And when you say State Fair, you also mean lots of food. So with that thought in mind, how about a granola, a State Fair granola? Lisa Erickson cooked one up in her kitchen.
Hi again and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Lisa. I'm getting ready to head to the State Fair today. I'm going to go see Ron and Raven, and I love all that food fried on a stick. However, I like to temper it with a little bit of healthy food. So today I'm going to make some granola. First, we're going to make a little bit of a syrup to kind of bind our granola together. You can use honey or corn syrup, or you can use my secret ingredient, which is maple syrup. I've got about a cup here, and I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to warm it up on the stove to a boil. I'm just going to stir that butter in. While this comes to a boil, we'll go ahead and mix our ingredients. I have a cup of oatmeal, half a cup of almonds, a cup of bran cereal, and a cup of Rice Krispies. I'm just going to stir it together. Okay, it's ready. And now we're just going to pour it over our prepared granola. And now we're going to stir it. Oh, the maple syrup smells wonderful. I like using maple syrup because it's not as sweet as honey or the corn syrup. And now we're going to prepare the pan with some cooking spray. And we're going to take the granola and dump it right in the pan. I'm going to spread it out. And now we're going to put it in the oven at 300 degrees for about an hour and a half, or until the almonds start to get nice and brown. All right, our granola is all done and ready. Now, this is a great treat for the state fair, but I also love to take it hunting as trail mix, or hiking in the woods, or out fishing. There's a couple different things you can put in with it. I've got some apricots, some cherries, some chocolate, some white chocolate, and I've got some already cut up and prepared, so we're just going to sprinkle that right over the top. And I love white chocolate, so we're going to put that in today. And we're just going to mix it up and put it in a bag. All right, it's all ready to go. I've got my granola and my veggies, and I'm off to the state fair. And that's my wild chow.
Still ahead, a Minnesota Bound Classic, a flashback to the Minnesota State Fair and what draws us to the great Minnesota get-together every year.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Hennepin County Medical Center, Minnesota Agricultural Water Resources Coalition, Minnesota soybean farmers and their checkoff.
What are some common misconceptions random people in Minneapolis have about farming today? Let's find out.
I would like to ask farmers if they could go back to the way it was.
To go back to the old days isn't a real valid statement. We might have bigger machines, we might use nutrients, but our carbon footprint per acre, per bushel today is so much less than it was in the 70s or the 50s.
Get to know more about how Minnesota farmers practice responsible, ethical agriculture for life at therealstorymn.com.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us. As you can see, we are at the Minnesota State Fair, and our Minnesota Bound Classic story this week involves the State Fair because you'll see this at the Minnesota DNR exhibit. But you know, unfortunately, we have lots of junk that ends up in our rivers. Well, some people collect it all up and turn it into art.
So, pick a group, sign up, and I'll give you a number and a badge.
And something's always happening on the river, on the river, on the river.
Mississippi River travel may be nothing new.
Hi, Mom.
But artist Steve Bateman's journey may be a bit different than most.
It's fun though, you know, I mean, doing this kind of thing.
He waits as the Harriet Bishop slides through murky Mississippi waters just south of St. Paul. A trip aboard one boat becomes two.
Well, you know, I just want to find some stuff.
You see, Steve's headed to a place most of us will never see.
I'm looking for things with color, metal, wood, anything. Some chapstick.
Call it the land of 10,000 bits of trash, the littered shores of the Mississippi River.
It's just everywhere.
Steve's along as part of the Great River Cleanup.
A little bit of nettle, poison ivy.
But he's here to do much more than just pick garbage.
Like the crocodile hunter, but it's the junk hunter.
What he collects, he will keep.
Yeah, garbage picking is great. There's a whole world in the garbage.
As they say, one man's garbage is another's treasure.
That's the silver. Now I'm looking for the gold.
Or in Steve's case,
turn it on.
It's art.
You want to say something, you don't want to just kind of sit in the background.
Art created from the heart.
He sure must know what he's doing.
With a clear message about dirty water.
It says, got drinking water. This is definitely an outlet. Yeah, I enjoy wrestling rebar and, you know, juggling junk.
Steve creates sculpture from garbage.
Is this going in the state fair?
Yeah.
All right, congratulations.
Just trying to keep the ball rolling, man, you know?
Yep, he's working on the DNR sculpture for the state fair.
Basically, this is a rough plan for the fish.
Last year's design was a swand.
Got all the pieces from river cleanup. There's a lot of stuff in there. People don't think about it or really want to think about it, I don't think. And a lot of people drink from that water. You know, filter it as you may.
Now, Steve's part of a growing group of artists. More and more artists now use garbage as a canvas.
Some people will never cuddle up to junk the way we do.
And what this sculpture does, it brings the hidden material back up out of the river muck and puts it right in front of an audience.
Thank you.
An audience of 1.6 million annual State Fair visitors. They take with them pictures and leave behind their thoughts.
Oh, it's really unique.
Terrible to see all that junk in the river, and yet pretty unique that someone can put that all together like that.
The whole idea behind this project, make people think twice. After all, you never know where your garbage might end up.
I still find it amazing that they pulled all of that out of the river.
I'm glad we found a use for all of that junk, right? Of course, it shouldn't be in the river in the first place. Well, that about does it for us. Remember, introduce a kid to the great outdoors. Maybe bring him to the fair. I'm Ron Scher, and of course, the star of the show is Raven. And then we have a whole bunch of stars right behind me here. Right? Thank you for joining us.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. For more information on these stories and more, catch us on the web at mnbound.com.